Hi, my name is Lucy Mills, founder of Your Ideal Fit, a service providing premium in-home and online Pilates-based fitness training. I'm about to take you through a lower body workout. We're going to work the quads, the calves, the inner thighs, the outer thighs, the glutes, and the hamstrings. You can expect to feel a burn on this one. No equipment needed except a chair and potentially a mat if you're working on a slippery surface. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoy. Okay, let's begin with our warm-up. We're going to stand in a ballet first position. So heels together, toes apart. And you want to make sure that that rotation is coming from the hips. So if you look down, your knees and your toes should be facing the same angle. We don't want the knees to be at a narrower angle than the feet. And then the hands can go on the hips or just resting down the side of the body. And we're going to take a plie, a bend and a stretch. And then we're going to lift and lower the heels. Lift them and lower them. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So we can start our Pilates breath here, in through the nose, out through the mouth, starting to activate and wake up that deep core. Good. Breathe it in, breathe it out. So the technique in our plie, it's not a squat. We're not tipping forward at the hips. We're sliding down a wall. You want to feel that little stretch along the back of the ankles and the Achilles. And then during this series, we should get a nice warm up through the ankles, the knees, the hips. Just getting ready for our main series of exercises. Inhale, exhale. You want to do about 8 to 10 of these just to make sure you have got a good amount of movement through those lower body joints. Just checking in that the shoulders are relaxed, core is switched on, we're still breathing. Okay, let's make this one our last one. And we're just going to keep the toes where they are and line up the heels. So we're standing in parallel. And then we're going to join the legs together. We've set that parallel position, joining, so the inner thighs switch on a little bit. Just continuing to work through the ankle into our running. So if you do Pilates Reformer, this is just like our running on the Reformer. You're lifting one heel and switching. And I want you to imagine that someone's got a few strands of your hair and they're pulling you up to the ceiling. So you're focusing on the length of the body and the height. You're resisting the downward motion. You don't want to feel like you're dropping and sinking. Otherwise we end up sinking into the hips. You want to keep that upright position. And then imagine there's a pane of glass between the midline of the legs and the inside of the ankle, the inner thighs, the knees. They're just grazing past that pane of glass. We want to avoid sickling into that ankle. Keep it lining up over that second and third toe. A couple more here. And final one. Okay, let's do a little bit more of a warm up for the rest of the body. So standing nice and wide, feet a good shoulder width apart, and just go for about 5 hip rolls in one direction and really work through that hip joint. Think about opening up the sides, the inner thigh, the back, the front, the hip flexors. Just breathing in and out, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then we're going to reverse it round to the other side for 5 and 4. Keeping the legs straight, but trying not to lock in the knees. Last 2. All right, let's work up to the waist. Soften those knees, and we're going to swing and wrap. Swing and wrap, a little torso twist. Let the head go too, so feel like you're looking and glancing past that back shoulder. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, and standing up, one arm up. Big side bend over. All the way up and down. And we lift. And side bend over. Make sure you're not pressing the hips in the opposite direction. All the way up and down. One more each side. And final one. And into the shoulders. Just give me 5 big shoulder rolls round to the back. Loosening up through that area. And 2. And 1. And reverse. 3. And 2. And 1. Finally, head and neck, think ear to shoulder. 4 of these, even if you do a few less or a few more, looking side to side. And then chin to chest, and lift. Make sure here that you don't crank into the back of the neck. Try and keep length. Almost like you're lifting up and over a tennis ball. Then let's take a little head roll. 3 in one direction, working through all movements. And reverse. You can let the shoulders come with you here. Last one. And then a final big breath in, extend the upper body, and then exhale, flex the upper body. Extend Just making sure we have a slight tuck of the tail on this extension so the lower back doesn't overarch, just upper body. Last two, breathe it in and breathe it out, opening up through the chest. And let's come into our full exercise series. So we're standing a narrow shoulder width apart, maybe a wide hip distance, see how you feel. And we're going to come into our squats. So we're going to aim throughout this entire exercise series to do about 10 repetitions of each exercise. You can minimize that, you can add some more if you feel you want a bit of a challenge, but 10's a nice point to start. So we're going to sit back into a squat, take one little pulse at the bottom and exhale, drive it up. Inhale, sit back, take a pulse, drive it up. So you're noticing here, my knees are over the second toe, they're not falling in. Similarly, they don't need to go any wider. I'm almost aiming to tap my elbows on the inside of my knees. Inhale to sit back, take a pulse. Exhale to press, drive up through those glutes. Evenly resting through the whole foot, no rolling out, no rolling in. Pelvis and spine staying neutral, so it's almost like I'm folding in half at the hip. Let's have about 3 more here. And 2. Nice. Last one. Perfect. Well done. Okay, now we're going to stand in wide second. So we just worked parallel, now we're going to work turnout. Very similar to our warm-up. Wrapping the glutes around the thighs, knees and toes facing the same angle. Hands on the hips. Now, plie. We slide down a wall and we slide back up. We're not tipping forward like we did in our squat. You want to think ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, and then thinking about that tail driving straight down to the floor. If you can on this one, we're going to sink down, right heel up, left heel up, and drive it back up. And then next time we go down, left heel up, and right heel up, and drive it back up. If that heel choreography is a little bit too much for now, just inhale, slide down to plie, exhale, come back up. So all this is doing is just making you sit down into that plie a little bit longer, adding the challenge, and drive it up. Inhale, sink it down, and exhale, drive it back up. Let's have 4 more. Inhale, hold, up, and drive it up. You should start to feel those thighs get a little bit warm now. Let's do 1 more each side. If you really want to challenge the balance in the core, you can try 2 heels lifting at the same time. But I would say do it a bit slower so you're not coming out of that plie any earlier than you should. Okay, keeping the feet wide, maybe bring them in a little bit. Hands are going to stay on the hips. We're going to take one leg behind to a curtsy and then stand back up. Other leg behind to a curtsy and stand back up. Now usually in a curtsy we don't want to overcross the back leg, but on this exercise specifically you can, only because I want you to get as deep as possible. Feel like that back knee is almost poking out through that little gap. Breathe in and breathe out. So we're breathing out as we drive back up. So you want to do an even number here. Every time we do single side work, arm or leg, always make sure you're even if you're not counting. It's not the end of the world. Aiming for about 10 sets, but even is more important than thinking about the exact number. Let's go for 4. Driving that back knee down, back heel is lifted. And 3. Keeping that body upright, almost like you're doing that plie. And 2. Now, before we complete the final set, I want you to hold it on one side. Now, just line up the back foot a little bit more than before, and that front heel is going to lift and lower, lift and lower. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, stay low, last 2. And last one. Whew. Other side. Down we go. Don't overcross on this one. If we overcross, it's going to get really hard to balance. So you want to think about lining the back foot up roughly with the front heel. Front heel. Lift and lower. Get that core switching on to keep your balance. 8. Just breathing in and out. wherever feels comfortable. 4, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice. Standing up. Perfect. Okay. Next one for the thighs. Feet together. We're going to take a big step out to a side lunge. Bending onto that standing leg and launching back off. Other side. Out and down and close. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So the leg that's being left behind is staying straight. And then those inner thighs are working. The core is switching on to get that balance. Join those legs back together again. Let's go for 6. So the body is behaving in a very similar way to your squat. You're hinging forward at the hip, almost like you're folding in half at the hip. We're keeping the spine in neutral, so we don't want to round and hunch the body over. Let's go for 2 more sets. Breathe in, breathe it out, nice and deep for the last set. And final 1. Well done. Okay, I'm just gonna stand. Done a lot for thighs. Let's do something for the back of the leg. So feet hip distance, quite narrow on this one. And you're just gonna reach your arms straight down in front of you, fingertips pointing to the floor. We're gonna do a deadlift. So I want you to imagine you're holding a barbell. Inhale, hinge your body forward, almost like your knuckles are trying to touch the floor. And exhale, drive back up, feeling the back of the leg engage. Now, if the hamstring flexibility doesn't allow you to tip forward that much, slight bend in the knees is perfectly fine. But what you want to avoid is bending as you go down and standing as you come up. Otherwise, it gets very similar to the squat. So I'm going to show you from the side. We inhale, hinge forward. And exhale, drive it up, engaging into those glutes. Inhale, now here, if you need to soften the knees slightly, that's okay. What I'd recommend though, is keep the knees soft the entire time, so we're not doing a bend and stretch as we go through. You keep that gentle softness in the knees on the drive up as well. Let's go for 5 more. Breathe in. So you will feel a little stretch down the back of the legs as you tip forward. And then you want to feel the hamstrings, the glutes engage as you drive back up. And inhale. Exhale, let's just have 1 more here. Very nice. Well done. Okay, now we're gonna grab a chair and work the thighs in a slightly different way. Okay, just positioning your chair sideways on. We're gonna stand. Almost the chair acting as a ballet bar. We're going to stand with one hand on our bar, other hand on the hip, and this outside leg, the leg furthest away from our bar, is going to glide up to Ratiri and slide back down, gliding up, gliding down. We want to make sure that we're not lifting that leg by hiking the hip. Don't worry if that thigh doesn't come all the way up to hip height, that's fine. Exhale on the lift. Let's go 5. And 4, strong standing leg. Feel like you're lifting your knee up through your quad. And 2. Now we're going to come from that Ratiri into a développé. So we lift, we unfold, we bend, and we lower. So wherever the thigh has positioned itself, that's where it stays, ideally for that lengthen. What we want to avoid is lifting it so high that we buckle into that bottom leg or lean back to get the leg up. Don't worry about the height, think about the length reaching from underneath. So you should feel that quad work in a very different way to something like a plie or a squat. Breathe out. And breathe in as the leg goes down. Let's go 4. And 3. Lengthening up all the way to the crown of the head, last 2. And last 1. Okay, now we're going to do a battement kick. So we're going to aim to get the leg to exactly the same position, but we're going to sweep and kick the leg through the floor and up, working toe ball heel through that foot. 4, 6, exhale, inhale again. Not too high that that bottom leg gives. Last 4. 3. Last 2. And last 1. Okay, we're going to take a big step forward. Set your feet hip distance apart and really widen your stance in terms of front and back, and drop down to a lunge. Breathe in, breathe out. Wide enough stance that that front knee stays over the heel. Back knee is driving to the floor. Breathing in 4. Exhale. And 3. And 2. And last 1. Okay, remember that deadlift we did on both legs. Now we're going to aim to do the same with one leg in front, one leg set behind. So my front heel is down, my back heel is high, and I'm reaching those arms down in front of me. Now it's a little bit more work for the core because you'll find yourself a little bit wobbly on this one. So I brought the back leg in a bit. You don't want to keep the stance as wide or as deep as when you were doing your lunge. Inhale, hinge it forward. Exhale, drive it up. Now remember, you can take a slight bend in that front knee. Inhale and exhale. May mean you wobble a little bit more, but use that core. Keep the body long and neutral. Keep the shoulders and the hips level. What we don't want is the same side as the front leg to be leading the way. Keep everything square on. Let's go for 4. Again, a little stretch into that front leg, then working right up through the glute and the hamstring of that front leg. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Let's have 2 more. And last one. Very nice. Okay, let's come into our ballet first position. Now we did this in our warm-up, heels together, toes apart, glutes wrapping around the thighs, knees and toes facing the same angle. We're going to repeat what we did in parallel. So we draw it up to retire and slide it back down. Draw it up to retire and slide it back down. So the difference now is whatever angle the toe is pointing to, that's where the knee points to. So we're in our lateral rotation. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Let's have 5 more here. 5. Again, strong standing leg. Last 3. Breathe out, breathe in. Really feel that standing leg do its work, especially the glute, it's supporting you. Last 2. Okay, let's come into our développé. So use that retire as a guide for where the leg is going. Bring it back in. So it's like I've set my thigh, and then I just unfold that lower half of my leg. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. 6 more, strong standing leg. And 5. And 4. And 3, tall body. Last 2. And last 1. Okay, just as we did in our parallel series, Batman kick. We sweep, kick and lower. We're aiming to get the leg to exactly the same position. No need to go any higher. Wherever the toe is facing, that's where we sweep the leg to. Knee is facing the ceiling. Keep wrapping that glute around the thigh. For 4. And 3. Last 2. Last 1. Okay, now we're going to take a big step out. I'm going to stand a little bit closer to my chair. A big step out to a side lunge. You'll notice again, as we did before, one leg bent, one leg straight, and then squeeze it back in so those inner thighs engage. Step it out. You can let go of the bar and squeeze back in. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. For 6. Keep the body facing forward instead of rotating to face that leg. For 4, squeeze, drag it in. And 3. And 2. And last 1. Okay, before we repeat all of that on the other side, just for convenience of not moving the chair around, I'm going to work the side of that leg. So we are going to stand a little further away from the chair or the workbench or whatever you're using as your bar, a little bit more so that the arm is more sort of in a lengthened position. Mini first, heels together, toes apart, but this time very narrow. That outside leg goes to the side and we make it parallel. So that knee and toe are pointing forward. Then we should have given ourselves enough space that we can just lean over and rest onto the forearm. And we've created this nice long straight line from forehead all the way to foot. And we lift and lower that leg. Now, if you feel all bunched up in at the shoulder, jump away a little bit. You want to get that sort of counterbalance of weight. Let's go 8, 10 in total, 7, and 6. Make sure that hip is nice and open. Long straight line for 4, and 3. Slight bend in that standing leg. Hold it up, little circles. 10, and 9, and 8. Small circles, about the size of a tennis ball. And 4, and 3. Reverse direction for 8, and 7, and 6, and 5. Keep that torso strong. And bend and stretch. Bend in front, kick to side. Inhale, exhale. Not letting the knee drop down, not letting the knee lift up. For 6, hip height or as close to hip height as you can. For 4, breathe out. And 3, you should start to feel that outer thigh by now and glute. And last one, hold it. 10 pulses, pulse 10. And 9, relax the shoulders, especially this one. 6, 5, 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. All right, big side bend over. Just slightly lean away, open up into the side of the body. And all the way up. Well done. Other side. So, I'm just gonna swing my chair around so I don't have to turn to the side. Okay, back to our parallel position. So, we are going to have one hand on the bar, one hand on the hip. We come up into that retire, parallel to start, meaning everything is facing forward. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. Sliding that toe up the midline of the leg. Again, don't worry how high that thigh is coming. Let's go for 3 and 2. Okay, using that retire as a guide for our développé. And lower, lengthen the spine, exhale. Inhale, lengthen that standing leg, no buckling underneath. Breathe out, breathe in, let's go for 6. And 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. Last one. Okay, Batman kick, sweep, kick. So again, no higher, we don't want that bottom leg to give. 8, long leg, slide along the floor. 6, 5, 4, 3, strong core. Last 2, last one. Well done. Okay, big step forward. Widen the stance so you're hip distance apart, and definitely widen the stance in terms of front and back leg. Back heel high, front heel down. Drop down to a lunge. Now you can adjust once you've done one. I did one and I still felt that it wasn't quite deep enough. Breathe in, breathe out. 6, front knee over the heel, back knee driving down. 5. And 4, should be a nice stretch of that back leg that's already worked. Last 2. And last 1. Okay, bring the feet a bit closer together, not in terms of inner thighs, in terms of front leg and back leg. Ready for our single leg deadlift. Inhale, drive it up on the exhale, squeeze that glute. Inhale, opting for a slightly soft knee. If the hamstring flexibility doesn't allow you to tip forward very far, breathe in. Breathe out, engage that core, reduce that wobble. 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, last 2, and last one. Very nice. Okay, first position, heels together, toes apart. Wrap those glutes around the legs, retire, exhale. Inhale. Now, don't worry how high the leg comes. I know that this thigh for me doesn't quite get as high as my right side. 4, 6, and 5, and 4. Tall body. Think length. Last 2. And last 1. Let's unfold. Let's développer. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Use the thigh as a guide for where that lower leg is reaching to. 4, 6, and 5, and 4, and 3. Last 2. Last one. Okay, that one kick, sweep kick. 10, 9, knee facing the ceiling. 8, 7, feel that quad engage. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. Well done. Okay, we're going to step it out to a lunge. Use the inner thighs, squeeze and close. Breathe in, breathe out. 4, 8, bent leg, straight leg. 6, and 5, and 4, and 3. Last 2. Resist to close. And last one. Well done. Okay, quads done. We're going to have a stretch of them later, but let's balance out and work that outer thigh on that left side. So I'm standing a little further away. Arm is a bit more lengthened. Mini first. Heels together, toes apart, just a narrow V. Bend the legs, send the leg to the side. Make it parallel, turn the knee and the toes to face front. Relax that supporting arm shoulder. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Chest and tummy facing front. 8, 7, 6. Long body, open hip. 4, and 3, and 2. Hold it up, little circles. Just breathe in and breathe out, wherever feels right for you. 4, 6, and 5, and 4, and 3. Reverse direction. 10. Soft supporting knee. 4, 6, and 5, and 4, and 3. Bend and stretch. You want to think tabletop and kick. Breathe in, breathe out. 8, keep the control. Even if you're getting tired, try not to go faster. 6, the slower you go, the more control you need. 4, and 3. Last 2. And let's finish. 10 pulses. Here we go. Final push. Pulse 10, and 9, and 8, and 7, 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Well done. Big side bend over. Slightly pull away from that bar and all the way up. Okay, we've done front of the legs, we've done side of the legs. Now let's do the back of the leg. I'm just going to turn my chair around so I can use the base of the chair as my support. Okay, so I've got my hands resting on the base of the chair. It's slightly lower. You can see when I'm at this height, my spine can just level out so it's parallel to the floor. So my hands are under my shoulders, my feet are under my hips, my knees are bent, and I'm gonna send one leg behind me. My front leg is bent, my back leg is straight. Now we're gonna work into the glutes and the hamstrings. So we exhale, lift, inhale, lower, shoulders square, hips square, corset zipping up so we don't let the lower back sink as we lift that leg. Let's go 6, wide shoulders, try not to take tension into the shoulders. 4, 3, 2, hold it up, 10 little pulses, 10, and 9. Feel like that leg is reaching so long. 6, 5, 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. pull it in. Now I'm only pulling it in enough so my knees touch. If I go much more than that, you'll see my spine and my shoulders have to hunch. And I want us to keep neutral, so just knee to knee is fine. Inhale, exhale, kick. Inhale, exhale, kick. We also want to avoid going too high that we sink into the lower back. Let's go 6, reach. 5, reach. So you should start to feel that standing leg by now. Keep that knee soft. Last 2. And make it smaller and focus on the kick. And 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, 5, 4, and 3, and 2. Hold it here. Hamstring curl, stretch. Now we're still doing a bend and a stretch, but it's a slightly different direction. We're thinking heel to bottom, not knee to knee. 6, don't drop that thigh, don't drop that knee. For 4, and 3, keep breathing. Last 2, finale, hold it, pulse it up. 10, 9, 8, 7, zip up that corset. 4, and 3, 2, and 1. Feet together. Just come down onto the forearms, relax the head. And when you're ready, back up we come. Let's go to the other side. Send that leg behind, wide shoulders, long spine, lift 10. 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, zip up that corset. 4, 3, 2, front leg bent, back leg straight, hold it, little pulses. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and 3, bring it in and out. Inhale, exhale, kick. Inhale, exhale, kick. Keep the collarbone wide. Let's have 6, and 5, and 4. Well done. Last 3, last 2. Now focus on the reach, mini bend and kick. And 9, and 8, and 7. Keep breathing, you're so nearly done. And 4, and 3, and 2, hamstring curl. We think heel to bum, stretch. 9, 8, stretch is on the horizon. We have 6, and 5, and 4, don't drop that thigh and knee. 3, last 2, hold the bend, little pulses. 10, and 9, and 8, think footprint to ceiling. Last 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Whew. You are done. Well done. Open the feet, widen the stance, and just pull those hips back. Tipping the body forward at the hip, feel a stretch running down the back of the legs. Relax the head, neck, and shoulders. Settle the breath. Well done. Gently bend the knees to roll up. Okay, let's turn this chair sideways. Let's come into a little quad stretch. So grabbing one foot, tall body, tuck the tail. You might want to slightly bend that standing leg to help tuck the tail even more. Open up through the front of the hip flexor and the quad. At least 3 to 5 breaths here. And then into a calf stretch. I'll do it sideways so you can see me. Front leg bent, back leg straight. Drive that back heel down to the floor. And if you want to get into the Achilles a little bit, little bend and stretch of that back leg. And then let's come into the other side, quad stretch. You can use the chair as a support, or you can just stand. 3 to 5 breaths, slight tuck of the tail. Calf stretch. Little bend and stretch of that back leg. Okay, let's come into our hamstring stretch. One leg is just going to rest on the chair, and and you just hinge that body forward. Try and keep your body as square as possible. Don't let one shoulder get closer to the leg than the other. Lengthen. Don't worry how close your nose is getting to your knee. Think almost nose trying to pass your toes. And up you come after about 3 to 5 breaths. Other side. Settle a breath. And then let's finish with our glute stretch. So we're just going to sit on the chair. Just going to cross one ankle over the thigh and just hinge that body forward. Again, don't think nose to knee. Think about length. You'll feel the second you start to tip at the pelvis, you'll get that stretch. And then other side. Try and hold each stretch for the same amount of time. And let's come up to standing. That completes our lower body workout. Hopefully you felt the burn by the end of it. Like and subscribe below to check out my other workouts. Thanks again for joining me. I hope to see you again soon.